Thank you, James. A great start to our theme of visibility, transparency, and cooperation. And I have to apologize on the mic thing. My booming voice essentially drains batteries about 100 times more than a normal speaker. So, well, someone has to follow that, and we've chosen David Rich, Director of Economic Infrastructure from the Office of Mayor Eric Garcetti. David?
Good morning. It's great to be here today at one of our most vital institutions, USC, on the subject of supply chain excellence. This is such an important topic for our city, for our region, for our country, for our world, and it's great to see so many people here. And congratulations, Nick, on the sixth iteration of this conference. There are a few things I want to talk about this morning. I'll share some of what we're doing under the leadership of Mayor Eric Garcetti to build our infrastructure and innovate how we move goods and people. I'll briefly talk about what our port is doing along with our friends at the Port of Long Beach to facilitate efficiency in the supply chain and to enhance our gateway's competitiveness. I'll just touch briefly on tariffs. First, I want to thank and acknowledge Nick Weiss, Dean Ellis, Vice Dean Crystal. Thank you for having our office here today, and more importantly, for the ongoing role that USC Marshall and the Center for Supply Chain Management make to our supply chain and logistics cluster in California. The center builds human capital, it drives innovation, which helps keep us #1 in logistics and goods movement. And make no mistake, this is about our most important industry in Los Angeles and in Southern California, and that's taking into account Hollywood and a lot of the other things that we do in our diverse economy. I also want to thank the board president of the center and the other board members for the Supply Chain Management Center, Jonathan Rosenthal. And I want to acknowledge Gene Soroka, who's the executive director of the Port of Los Angeles. He's here this morning. I think the people in this particular room understand what a great decision it was when Mayor Garcetti and the Harbor Commission chose Gene to lead the port back in 2014. Thank you, Gene. And finally, to Deputy Assistant Secretary James Sullivan, Maureen Smith, and everybody from Commerce, welcome to Los Angeles, and thank you for coming out here and for your partnership with this center and for your support of our ports through the work you do in your committees back in Washington. And finally, thanks to all the supply chain professionals in the room. All of us government officials, academics, students, we really learn the most from you here. So I'm excited to be here and hear about some of the latest things that you're doing to move goods smarter and faster. Of course, I also want to thank you just on behalf of the mayor, a lot of the businesses here, for what you do for the region and for our economic vitality. So to those of you visiting Los Angeles this week, I hope you'll take a look around at our changing skyline, unprecedented building boom, a revitalized downtown, and see what we see, which is really a city on the move. Looking at key metrics, whether it be low unemployment, city building permits issued, tourism numbers, containers at the port, it's clear that we're doing great, everything's up. In just 5 years, we've created more than 170,000 new jobs here, and more than 233,000 new businesses have set up shop here right in the city of Los Angeles. Our metro's economy is the world's third largest in economic performance, ranked behind Tokyo and New York. We're clearly an international city. Just one small example, foreign firms help drive our local economy with close to 5,000 international businesses across the county employing more than 200,000 workers. We're also planning ahead, investing in the infrastructure we need, innovating how we move people and goods, working to ensure that the city is prosperous, sustainable, and livable. If you arrived at LAX this week, you might have noticed a little construction. We're improving every terminal there. We're spending $14 billion plus, including over $5 billion on what we call the Landside Access Modernization Program, which is known by the acronym LAMP. LAMP will ease vehicle congestion at the airport with an elevated tram called an automated people mover that will connect every terminal to a consolidated rental car facility and light rail. It will provide a fast and reliable alternative to the current terminal loop. Just as exciting is how we're delivering this project. Two of the key LAMP projects, the automated people mover and the consolidated rental car facility, will be public-private partnerships. Not just through the construction and through the duration of the operation of those facilities. We need LAMP to accommodate growth. In 2013, LAX saw about 67 million passengers. Last year, 2017, we saw nearly 85 million, with 70 new international nonstop flights launched since Eric Garcetti became mayor. And just so everybody knows, LAX is also the 5th busiest cargo airport in the United States. We also, of course, continue to grow at the Port of Los Angeles, the busiest in the Western Hemisphere, where we're coming off 2 straight record years. This is important because trade through the ports of LA and Long Beach are responsible for 1 in 9 jobs in Southern California. I want to thank the ports, your businesses, terminals and shipping lines, and the men and women of the ILWU for another strong year. Moving on to transportation. To improve mobility throughout the county, we passed Measure M, the nation's largest ever local jobs and infrastructure package. Measure M will generate $120 billion to build and expand 15 rapid transit lines, fix our freeways, and create 777,000 good middle-class careers over the next 4 decades. Many exciting new projects will be ready by the 2028 Olympics. These metro projects will help move people, but many of them will also help move cargo. And of course, it's not just public infrastructure spending, but private capital from home and abroad that has propelled us in LA. Whether it's the presence of Hyperloop One or the Boring Company, we're bringing big new infrastructure ideas to move people and things. With all that investment going into LA from both the public and private sector, we're all interested in getting our money's worth and seeing results. Innovation is one of the keys to that. We can't build systems for the 20th century, whether it's digital systems or new physical infrastructure. They have to be appropriate for the 21st century. So to that end, we welcome any and all new ideas that you have to increase the speed, reliability, and the effectiveness of the supply chain, which is our topic here today. You're never going to hear the mayor say, that's a great idea, but test it somewhere else and come back when it works. No, we want your ideas and inventions here, because that's what only adds to the strength of our city. We want LA to be an innovation test bed. One example is drones. Our fire department already owns and operates 6 drones. Our airport is in partnership with Booz Allen Hamilton to test UAVs at LAX on the runways and around the perimeter. We're looking at procurement of drones at the port for security purposes. These are real-world deployments, and what they'll do is they'll help spur the UAV's use in commercial applications. We look forward to seeing them employed in the supply chain for inventory management, last-mile delivery, and other uses. Turning to the port, our leadership is working to ensure we continue to earn the privilege of moving your cargo. As a result of the 2014-2015 congestion crisis, the Port of LA got together with the Port of Long Beach under the auspices of a Federal Maritime Commission agreement and convened over 70 meetings with industry stakeholders to identify supply chain optimization solutions. And commerce was a big part of those discussions as well. Those meetings yielded initiatives that are in the vanguard of supply chain innovation, getting everybody in the room, sometimes with disparate interests, and talking about system-wide solutions was for a lot of people that I saw in the room when I was there a first. One of these innovations I'll talk today about is the GE Port Optimizer. And I'm sure you'll hear more about this from Gene Soroka later in the day, but I'll just say a few things now. As a visibility tool, the Port Optimizer allows shippers, terminals, truckers, and railroads to see cargo 10 to 14 days in advance of the arrival of a vessel, so that they can better plan cargo handling, trucking dispatches, and rail moves. This makes unloading a mega ship a lot easier. It provides better asset utilization and greater system efficiency, all in one portal. The tool was piloted with great success at APM terminals and is being expanded to include the rest of the Port of LA. and 3 terminals in the Port of Long Beach. But the portal is more than just a visibility tool. It introduces big data into the operations of the port complex and opens the door to even greater efficiencies through the application of machine learning, predictive, and prescriptive analytics. The more it gets adopted, the better and better it's going to become. We look forward as the portal continues to gain users at the ports of LA and Long Beach, and ultimately at ports and among shipping lines across the nation. Helping develop the portal and convening supply chain optimization groups serve as examples of the role that ports have played and will continue to play in improving the supply chain system. Competition is important for innovation, but there's a key role for conveners and honest brokers who can take a system-wide perspective and help arrive at solutions. The Center for Supply Chain Management plays a very similar and powerful role here at USC. And of course, the Department of Commerce has also played that key role of convener in bringing together industry, labor, government, and academia to solve issues. At the local ports, we also lead in the quest to reach zero emissions. The mayor of LA and Long Beach set ambitious goals of 2035 to see 100% of our drayage fleet operate on zero emissions and 2030 for cargo handling equipment. These are very tough goals, which we'll only reach in partnership with industry and with help from the state and federal government. Already we're employing pilots of battery electric and hydrogen fuel cell trucks, and we believe we can get to affordable commercialization by the dates we've set. I ask that as your companies innovate to meet your own sustainability goals, that you consider partnering with us to move technologies forward. Now, looking ahead, of course, there are challenges. We are tracking the discussion and actions around tariffs. At this point, we've seen the imposition of tariffs on steel and aluminum in the first round of $34 billion of what's known as Section 301 tariffs on goods from China. The impact of those tariffs are being felt. Beyond just the logistics sector, keep in mind that LA is actually the largest center of manufacturing in the country. If you look at employment, our metro has more employees involved in manufacturing than any other in the country. Small and medium-sized manufacturers have started to report to us impacts of the steel and aluminum tariffs and of the first round of tariffs hitting components from China. Our big construction projects will surely be affected by the increase in steel costs. The port is reporting that shippers may be moving cargo and stockpiling ahead of threatened tariffs. But as further tariffs are implemented, and if they are implemented, we could see greater impact. We've estimated that approximately 20% of cargo value and volumes at the Port of Los Angeles and other California ports are subject to fully enforced tariffs. That is to say, if the recently threatened $200 million in Section 301 tariffs are actually implemented, we're looking at a direct effect on 20% of our cargo. That's not to say we lose all those boxes, but that they would be affected. And with that, we would see ripple effects throughout California and beyond. LA is also a magnet for foreign direct investment, and we would certainly expect to see tariffs impacts there as a result of new trade policies and retaliatory actions. So what do we do? One key role I want to play is just to factually state the potential impact. That should always be a key part of the conversation. Our port working with its partners has been, as an example, been able to link 2017 cargo directly with the published harmonized tariff schedules to understand that 20% figure and what we're up against. And I welcome your input while I'm here to understand how this might affect your businesses, because that's really some of the best information that we can get. As the situation evolves, we may have to make adjustments just as your businesses would. But we continue to see Los Angeles looking to international trade, and investment is key areas of strength for our city and our region. We're playing the long game. We definitely want a level playing field. We also believe there are positive ways to achieve that goal. As we meet here, Mayor Garcetti, in fact, is wrapping up a trade mission to Japan, Korea, Hong Kong, and Vietnam. He's meeting with our port and airport companies, signing private sector deals and MOUs with local governments. He'll be back to report on that next week. We're looking forward knowing that LA will always be stronger because of its global connections, that will continue to be our nation's premier gateway for trade and an example for the country and the world. I'll conclude by saying we want to learn from you, so I look forward to the conference and hearing about all the ways the supply chain will be improved upon or revolutionized. If I can leave you with anything today, it's that please use our city as a laboratory. If a supply chain solution works here, it will work just about anywhere. So please test new equipment, software, processes here in Los Angeles and Southern California, and let us know if we can help advance your new ideas and projects. Thank you, welcome, and wish you a great conference. Thanks.